Today, we will deep dive into the approval and publication in Spark, the way it works. So Chris, my colleague here in the drop-in today, will be the approver of my process. But in the first place, why are we approving process? We want to create an official, trusted version of a process. So when a user opens their process, they need to have the guarantee that what they are looking at is not only the latest version, but also a version they can trust. And this is what we can do in Spark using this approval feature. Why to whom is it important? So it's important for process owners because they can actually share with whoever interested. These are the processes that have been approved. It's important for editors as well. Editors have two roles to play in there. So they are usually the one building the processes. So it's important to them to have it formalized as being the approved version. But also editors are the one usually leading the approval cycle. So doing the clicks in the application. And of course, for end users, as I said earlier, they are the one they desire is when they open a process to know that it's the right version they are looking at. So what we are looking at today is when to approve, who approves, and how to approve. So when to approve, my bias is to approve early and approve often. The first approval is usually the most complicated to make the step to send and to have someone else to validate some work that we have done. So I think it's important to do it the first time with the process owner, and then don't be shy about, all right, processes are never perfect, they are never finished. So I find it's good practice to publish something that is satisfactory and then over time continue making changes, evolving the changes and publishing them again. You will see that the approval process in Spark is fairly simple. And we know that some customers do have some additional checks that they do outside of the platform. So you'll be able to implement that as well. How to approve, we'll have a look at that. So first, when we are approving a process, my recommendation is always to have a sanity check. So Spark is a tool that we use in a workshop. So very often there's a lot of people involved in mapping the process. But if you haven't shared your process with anyone else, the first QA, quality assessment, quality verification you can do of your process is talking someone else through your process. Yeah, does it make sense? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Testing all the attachments. I think I've done a little checklist below. That the scope is clear. What are we talking about? Activities, why boxes are well written, clearly defined. There's no ambiguity in the terms that you're using. Roles and systems, attachments work, link works. But also something I find very important, the general look and feel of the process, the alignment of the box, the general layouts of the boxes on the canvas. So quality check is good. The best way to do it is to talk someone through it, sit down with them and let them read and discover the process. I find that there's immense value in doing that, and usually very quality feedback, or what did you mean here? Or I'm not sure, it could be good. So just having another pair of eyes on the process. So that's the best way to quality check. I know some companies have some like checklists that they do check at this stage, which is very good. And this can be a very simple starting point here, and then you can add as many requirements as you want. Once you're ready for approval, once you've done all these little tiny tweaks at the end before the publication, usually the process owner is the best person to approve the process, right? They are owning it, they are approving it. So I suggest that we go ahead and do it the first time. So now I will go here into the version history menu. All right, and I can see that I can approve. So Spark has a full version control. So every changes you make over time in your process, they are tracked. So you can decide to request approval on any revision that has been created in the past, or just here on the latest revision, the most actual revision that you have. So here I'm gonna do it, request approval, and then it offers to select the process owner directly, which is Chris Green, as a matter of fact. So I'll select him for now to approve, and then I can add some little change notes. Initial approval of the process for publication after review with, I don't know, Joe and Jack. So the change notes can be anything. You can also describe what are the changes that have been done for an initial publication. Here it's, I would just leave that at. And then I'm requesting the approval. I can see on my screen now that the went through, so requested by myself, Chris Green, and a couple of change notes that Chris will have received on his end. So Chris, I suggest you share your screen and show, and we pick up from your point of view. All right, perfect. So now Chris is on the same process where I was earlier. We can see this little banner in the top. This process is awaiting your approval, open revision to approve. Chris, before doing that, if you go to the workspace level, I can highlight also another page. Yeah, here we see that it's awaiting approval. The card is flagged. Under the collaboration menu on the left-hand side, there's also awaiting approval. So there's several places that are catching your attention, telling you where this one awaiting approval. So there's a couple of different places, and also in the notification here, your approval is requested by Colin. So even though you haven't received the email, there's a couple which you should have done by now. There's a couple of places in the product that tells you. Okay, so this is another one actually.
Yeah, sorry, no, I was on the wrong one, wasn't I?
Yeah, that was another one. So that was the this one indeed.
Yeah, so if I come to my notifications, you can see it is split out. So if I'm being engaged with an awful lot of things, I can filter it down, can't I? Which is quite cool.
Exactly. Here it's filtered by workspace already. So that's the one. That's the one. So you must approve this process. We see in the top banner, open approval request details. That will bring you to the screen where I myself sent the invitation, the approval request. And now we can see that Chris on his screen has got an approve button to go along. Approve gives you the details. Are you happy to do that? Perfect. So now we have an approved revision. Okay, so this is fairly straightforward to approve. This is quite also quite simple yet powerful. And now, Chris, you can open the revision. Click on Open Approved Revision. So now we can see the same process that I've sent to approval, but in the template, and I will show you that when I take over the screen again, in the template, we can see that we are on the version 1 of the process approved by Chris Green. This is the current version. Okay, so we can have this information, we can display it directly on the diagram template. I will show you, I will show that to you. I will take over. So now, instead of having the little red banner at the top, you can see there's this tag in the left-hand side, published. So I know that this process has now been published. When I open a process, it is now the published revision that will open by default. Okay, so when I open the process now, I'm on the version 1, it tells me here, but it also tells me in the diagram template. And what I can do if I want to make some changes, I can click on this button to update the revision where I can make changes. And you can see the editing button appeared again on the left-hand side. So if I go to the published revision, I cannot change it. I cannot enter edit mode. This version is frozen, but now I can click here and continue making changes. Everyone else, for example, I'm just typing just so we have a little difference. So I have now the approved revision without the text and the latest editable revision where I've kept going, made some changes. So let me show you something quick. And you see again here, sorry, I wanted to also show in the diagram template. Now it shows I'm on the draft process. So switching to the published revision tells me version 1 approved by Chris Green. So now this diagram template, I will quickly show you how I've done that. So in the admin, I went to diagram templates, and then here I have two templates, essentially, one without the version control and one with it. If I'm editing, enter edit mode. If I'm editing this text here, we can see that I'm using dynamic text. So curly brace, process underscore published, curly brace closing. And this notation, this thing will become automatically dynamically replaced with a relevant variable. We've used the same for the process owner. Okay, so when I enter edit, exit edits, we have no process owner because the diagram template doesn't have a process owner, and it shows as a draft process. Okay, so now if I'm going back to my process, jumping here, but yeah, we see that it's dynamically populated. What I'll do now, just for the sake of completing the little tour, I will submit the process for approval a second time, Chris, so I can show you what happens with the previously published process. So now we'll request approval again. Second approval for the demo. I need to select a user, Chris. Voilà. So yeah, just there's now this stage there is already an approved revision and another awaiting approval. So Chris, if you can sign it off quickly and tell me when it's done. Okay, here I can see in my banner in the top right, the process is awaiting approval from Chris Green, open revision. But I can keep refreshing that until Chris has done it. Okay, the banner disappeared. Now I'm gonna open the published revision. Now I see I'm on version 2. Okay, so the versions are automatically incremented, approved by Chris Green again, or just right now. Let me show you in the history now what we have. We have the published revision here, the version 2, and we also have what we call a was published. Not very inspired. It's a was published revision, so the version 1. Just to show you, if I open it, it will tell me version 1 was approved. This is not the current version. Okay, so it really highlights to the end user that they are not on the current version of the process. I can click here to navigate directly to where I want to go. Okay, so now I've got 2. I'm on the version 2 of this process. Probably the beginning of a very long journey. I've seen some processes with customers version 50 something, so it's definitely been used a lot by some customers. So to summarize, approval, you see in Spark, it's very simple. It creates trust. Having an approved process sends the message that your library is up to date, it's being maintained, it's taken care of, and when you open a process, you can trust the content. Before sending for approval, it's good to do a little quality check, formal or informal. The best way is usually to show it to someone else that haven't been involved in the workshop, haven't been involved in the creation of the process, and asking them, does it make sense? Can you read it? Do you not find it confusing? Having a little conversation about it. The process owner is the best person to approve a process. It involves them. It gives them the sense of ownership and responsibility. And once a process is approved, remember that in Spark, it will always open as the default version, even if we have the ability to navigate to the work in progress version by clicking this button.